Well, as Trump announced a pause on reciprocal tariff for almost all its global trading partners for 90 days, the international reactions have started coming in. South Korea's acting president, Han Duck-soo, said on Thursday that the government would seek to advance negotiations with the U.S. over tariffs in a bid to shake off the burden. The incoming German Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, said that a united European approach to trade had a positive impact and that Europeans are determined to defend ourselves, and this example shows that unity helps most of all. Italy welcomed the decision by Trump to pause the tariffs for 90 days and said the group of 7 countries spoke about trying to calm the situation. Interim leader of Bangladesh, Yunus, thanked Trump to pause the tariffs as Trump had imposed 37% levies on Bangladesh. Also, the European Union has also announced the approval of tariffs to hit around $23.2 billion of U.S. goods in response to the 25% duties on its steel and aluminium exports. The United States and Vietnam have agreed to launch trade talks between each other. The Vietnamese government said that U.S. and Vietnam will work to remove as many non-tariff barriers as possible. Also, the global stocks rebounded strongly after U.S. President Donald Trump's stunning reversal on sweeping reciprocal tariffs. Within moments of Trump's social media announcement, the Dow index surged ahead over 2,500 points along the way to a nearly 8% gain on the session. The tech-rich Nasdaq won 12.2% to notch its best day in 24 years, while the S&P 500 soared 9.5% for its biggest daily gain since 2008. Asian markets also opened with strong gains on Thursday following Wall Street's biggest one-day rally in years. In Japan, the Nikkei was up by 7.2%, while in Seoul, the Kospi was up over 5%. In Australia, the ASX 200 jumped more than 6% at the open. This would make its biggest gain since March 2020. And for more on the tariffs, we have Akshay Dongre joining us. Well, Akshay, Trump announces 90-day pause on the tariffs and sets a baseline tariff of 10% on all imports. But on the other hand, with the U.S. and China both escalating tariffs on each other's goods, what are the potential chances of now the trade going to?
Well, Lipakshi, it's a good news for global trade that Donald Trump has finally announced the reversal of these tariffs that he had announced on the so-called Liberation Day. But this is just a 90-day pause. It's not a reversal in toto, but this is giving a time to the countries that are willing to negotiate to come to come and speak to the U.S. leadership and in fact negotiate a deal as to how and how much they can impose tariffs or reduce tariffs as far as the U.S. goods are concerned, or the goods that are going into the U.S., which means that there will now be certain rules that will be rules-based order that will be imposed between the countries and the U.S. as far as trade is concerned. And while all of this is happening, the trade war with China that escalated after China put retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. goods continues. However, that's not a good news for the global trade, and specifically because the world's number 1 and number 2 economies fighting can never be good for the global financial systems. However, if you have to look at it from another perspective, it's also important to see that currently all of the countries who are in fact going to file a deal with the United States can now never be sure of the next move that is going to come, because everything that has happened in the past 1 week has been quite abrupt. First of all, a massive implementation of tariffs on the countries, then the kind of language that Donald Trump has used, even for the global leaders who have been trying for a deal with the U.S. has been quite immature, has been quite unprofessional as well, and to be honest, it has been quite crass too. But as far as the position is concerned, the President of the United States has given a hold, but the kind of action that he has taken have put a forever question mark on the U.S.'s role as far as global market is concerned, which can be relied upon. And that is what China is also trying to propagate through its own propaganda that US is not anymore a country that can be relied upon, and it has been trying for a very long time to take its place, but these measures will now intensify with this trade war.
All right, Akshay. Also, given the dramatic swings in the global markets right now following President Trump's tariff policy reversal, how sustainable do you think this level of volatility is, especially in the context of a potential full-blown trade war, as you also mentioned?
Well, not at all, Lipakshi, because we are seeing the market fluctuating quite a bit, and it's all depending on the whims and fancies of global leaders, especially Donald Trump. One day, the man who is heading a country, the world's largest economy, such as US, decides or announces tariffs. Then next day, he calls for countries not to retaliate, especially through social media. And then again, the countries that retaliate, he puts additional tariffs. It's sort of a bullying in a financial sense and in trade sense that was happening for the past few days. However, that's how global trade in today's world now works, it seems. So that's what is happening. But the kind of volatility that has been seen, or non-continuity that has been seen in the decisions of Donald Trump will also reflect on the global markets.
All right. Thank you so much, Akshay, for all those details and insights.